It begins quietly, almost innocently. You open an envelope with no return address, no postmark, no hint of who sent it, just your name written in ink that seems to shift when you're not looking directly at it. Inside there are only 7 words, but they make your blood run backward. We've been waiting for you to remember. At first, you laugh it off. It has to be a prank, right? Maybe someone who knows too much about your late-night internet searches, your fascination with forgotten libraries, or the recurring dreams of places you've never actually been. But then you see it, the seal. That strange symbol you've been absent-mindedly sketching since childhood, without knowing why. The same one that shows up in your notebooks, fogged mirrors, or even drawn in the sand when you're lost in thought. They call themselves the Silent Brothers, and according to this letter that should not exist, sent by people who shouldn't even know you exist, you are not who you think you are. You are not another anonymous soul drifting through the system, not another face lost in the endless crowd. According to them, you are their lost heir, the missing fragment of a legacy that's been incomplete for decades. But what should truly unsettle you is that you've never heard of them, not once. There are no books, no records, no late-night conspiracy forums whispering their name. The Silent Brothers are an absence, something that should be there but isn't, and yet, when you read their name, something deep within you stirred. It wasn't fear, it was recognition. It was as if a hidden lock inside your chest clicked open, as if a secret frequency long dormant suddenly roared to life. Your hands trembled, not out of terror, but because a buried part of you had finally awakened. Your body has always known something your mind was trained to forget. They've been watching you, not in the paranoid sense that makes you double-check your windows or search for hidden cameras, but through patterns, through the subtle trails you leave behind without realizing it. The books you're drawn to without reason, the streets you wander when you need to think, the words you whisper to yourself when you think no one can hear. They've been studying these patterns, reading your life like an ancient map leading to something long buried. Every uncanny coincidence, every flash of intuition that made no logical sense, every déjà vu moment where you felt like you were reenacting a story, written in a language you couldn't decipher, those weren't random. That was them. Or rather, that was you, responding to the invisible signals they've been sending since before you were born. You weren't paranoid. You were right all along. Someone has been orchestrating the symphony of your existence. But they're not puppeteers pulling strings for control. They describe themselves as archaeologists, carefully brushing away years of conditioning, false memories, and manufactured normality designed to keep you asleep. They insist you were never lost, only hidden, never abandoned, only protected. And now, they say you're ready, old enough, strong enough, or maybe desperate enough to finally hear the truth. According to them, your blood carries something that shouldn't exist anymore, not royal lineage or noble ancestry. That's trivial compared to what truly flows through your veins. You carry the genetic memory of something ancient, something predating kingdoms, nations, and the very concept of human power itself. You aren't descended from kings, you're descended from those who made kings possible. The Silent Brothers claim to be the final guardians of this bloodline, the protectors of a truth so dangerous it had to be broken apart, scattered, and hidden within seemingly ordinary people across the world. People like you, living normal lives yet feeling a constant pull towards something more, sensing that something vital has been withheld. They tell you the signs have always been there, the way animals react to you, sometimes with unexplainable warmth, other times with deep unease, the way technology glitches when your emotions surge, the dreams that feel less like fantasies and more like recovered memories filled with faces you recognize but have never met, and places you know by heart, but have never seen. They suggest that even your parents might not be who you think they are, or rather that they might not truly know who they are. The bloodline, they explain, doesn't always run in a straight line. Sometimes it skips generations, lies dormant, waiting for the perfect combination of time, trauma, and truth to awaken it. Sometimes it takes loss to stir it, sometimes it takes pain, and sometimes all it takes is for someone to finally tell you what's been hidden all along. But who are these silent brothers, really? According to the letter, they're not a secret society in the way you'd imagine. No candlelit rituals, no cloaked meetings in ancient catacombs. There's something far more elusive and far more powerful. They exist in the spaces between spaces, operating quietly within the folds of reality most people never even notice. They move through synchronicity, through those perfect alignments that seem impossible to explain. The chance encounter with exactly the right person at exactly the right time. The book that falls open to the page that answers your unspoken question. The wrong turn that somehow leads you exactly where you needed to be. That, they say, is their work. Or maybe it's your own subconscious, responding to their invisible influence. They claim their order was founded not centuries, but millennia ago, by beings who understood consciousness on a level modern science has only begun to glimpse. They discovered that certain bloodlines carried a rare ability, the power to perceive and shape what they called the substrate, the hidden framework of reality beneath matter, beneath energy, beneath even thought itself. The Silent Brothers, according to the letter, have spent eons guarding this knowledge, protecting these bloodlines, and waiting for something monumental to occur, and that time, they say, is nearly here. They don't call it the end of the world, because it isn't. They call it the revision, a moment when reality itself becomes pliable, when the rules that define existence become open to negotiation, and when those who bear the old blood will determine whether humanity is saved or undone. But what's most unsettling is this. The letter doesn't ask for your faith. In fact, it insists belief doesn't matter. What matters is whether you can do what they claim you can do. Unclosed are instructions, a test that should be impossible to complete, unless, of course, you truly are who they say you are. The final line reads, "Go to the place you've been avoiding, the one that calls to you in dreams, but repels you when awake. You are told to stand at the threshold between day and night, the place where light and shadow overlap. Speak the words you've never learned, but somehow have always known. Then watch. Watch what happens to the shadows around you, and to your own. Deep down you already know where this place is, don't you? It's that spot you always avoid. The abandoned building you drive past without looking. The forest edge that hums beneath your skin. The crossroads that fills you with dread and strange familiarity. You've been orbiting it your whole life, like a satellite caught in the pull of something it can't resist. And the words, they hover just beneath the surface of your thoughts, in a language older than human speech, waiting to be spoken. The letter warns that once you complete this test, there will be no going back, not because you'll be stopped, but because you won't want to return. Once you see what you truly are, once you feel the gravity of your inheritance, the normal world will lose its taste. It won't be beneath you. It will simply feel too small, too distorted, too broken. You'll finally understand what's been done to this world, what's been done to humanity, and what you are meant to do about it. According to the Silent Brothers, everything you've been taught about history is a fabrication, not the surface-level lies of governments or hidden elites, but a much deeper deception. The very structure of how humans perceive time, causality, and identity has been engineered to keep humanity fragmented, forgetful, and docile. They claim there was an era when humans wielded consciousness like a tool, performing what we'd now call miracles. People could communicate mind to mind, heal without medicine, and travel without movement. Then came what they call the severing, a catastrophic event that cut humanity off from these innate powers. Only a few bloodlines retained faint traces of that connection, a dormant spark that could still be reawakened. The Silent Brothers formed in the aftermath of the severing, not to rule, but to preserve. For centuries, they've protected this knowledge and safeguarded those few with the sleeping gift, waiting for the moment when the severing could finally be undone. But they are not alone. The letter speaks of others, unnamed forces known only as the architects of absence. These entities have spent millennia feeding on humanity's disconnection, building their power upon the foundation of limitation. Every strange disappearance, every bloodline that ended abruptly, every unexplained descent into madness, these, the brothers suggest, are the architect's attempts to erase the remnants of the old power. And you, according to the letter, have survived multiple attempts without even realizing it. The inheritance you carry isn't wealth, or property, or secret knowledge in the traditional sense. It's something far rarer and infinitely more potent. The Silent Brothers call it the sight, the ability to see beneath the illusion, to perceive reality not as it was constructed, but as it truly is. They call it the sight, a forgotten inheritance buried in human DNA, the ancient ability to perceive the true fabric of existence itself. It is not simply the act of seeing, but of understanding. The sight allows one to witness the underlying architecture of creation, the luminous lattice connecting all things, the invisible code through which the universe communicates with itself. To those who awaken, the world no longer appears solid or separate. It becomes alive, breathing, shimmering with meaning. Every gust of wind, every flicker of light, every word uttered by a stranger carries significance. The universe stops being random. It becomes a dialogue. But the true essence of the sight is not just to listen, it's to respond. Those who possess it can speak the hidden language of reality. They can whisper to probability, altering its rhythm, guiding outcomes in ways that appear miraculous to the untrained eye. They can make the improbable unfold naturally, turning accidents into alignments. They don't defy the laws of nature. They reveal their pliability. For them, the laws of physics are not commandments, but agreements, boundaries that consciousness can gently renegotiate. Every moment of uncanny luck, every coincidence that seemed crafted just for you, every thought that became reality faster than logic could explain, those were not accidents. Those were your dormant powers, stirring in their sleep, testing their range, reaching for recognition. Yet the sight is both gift and burden. It opens perception so wide that it becomes impossible to unsee what lies beneath the surface. With it, you begin to notice the pain hiding behind forced smiles, the fear trembling beneath false bravado, the quiet despair masked by loud laughter. You see the patterns of suffering looping endlessly through generations, the invisible strings of karma and memory, linking strangers in ways they will never understand. You sense the quiet pleas for help in the eyes of those pretending they're fine. You feel the collective grief of humanity, the wounds of the planet, the slow ache of time itself, and because you see the threads that connect all living things, you feel each one vibrate when it's cut. Every injustice, every loss, every act of cruelty echoes through your nervous system as if it were happening to you. That is why the Silent Brothers chose silence. Once you can hear everything, the murmurs of atoms, the thoughts of the sleeping, the cries of forgotten spirits, words lose their weight. To speak feels sacrilegious, like interrupting a symphony you barely understand. Silence becomes sanctuary, the only refuge from the unbearable intimacy of knowing. The letter reveals that you are not alone. There are others scattered across the world, awakening in waves. The Silent Brothers call them the lost heirs. Each carries a different expression of the sight. Some awaken as healers, capable of realigning energy fields, mending bodies and spirits with touch and intention. Others become visionaries, able to perceive the threads of potential futures and subtly guide humanity away from disaster. Some are warriors, guardians who battle, not with weapons, but with vibration, defending the balance of unseen realms that exist alongside our own. And then there are those who cannot bear the enormity of their perception, who willingly choose to forget again, to re-enter sleep, even knowing it can never be as deep as before. Their eyes once opened, never truly close. But why now? Why would the silent brothers, who have remained hidden for millennia, reveal themselves at this precise moment in history? The letter speaks of a phenomenon they call the quickening, a vast acceleration in the pulse of reality. Time itself is beginning to bend. Patterns that once took centuries now unfold in decades, then years, then days. Human consciousness is evolving faster than the systems meant to contain it. Every invention, every crisis, every synchronicity is converging toward an event beyond comprehension. The brothers call it the opening. They warn that the opening will not be an apocalypse in the destructive sense. The word has been twisted. They say, in its original form, apocalypsis means to unveil. It is not the end of the world, but the end of illusion. During the opening, the boundary between what is and what could be will dissolve. Reality will become pliable, responsive to consciousness. The walls separating dream from waking, thought from matter, will thin until they vanish. In that moment, the abilities of those who carry the old blood will surge exponentially. What was once subtle influence will become direct manifestation. The quiet intuition that once whispered will become thunderous knowing. The faint connection to something greater will become a luminous channel to the source itself, the original intelligence from which existence flows. For this amplification will not be yours alone. The same cosmic tide that empowers the awakened will also strengthen those who have profited from humanity's sleep. These are the ones the brothers call the architects of absence. Their power is built on fear, ignorance, and fragmentation. They manipulate collective perception, weaving illusions that keep humanity disconnected from its true nature. Every system of control, every distortion of truth, every distraction that numbs the soul, serves their agenda. They are not mythic demons or cartoon villains. They are intelligent forces of entropy, invested in maintaining the severing that once divided humanity from the divine, and now, as the opening draws near, they are preparing too. This is why the silent brothers reach out to you. They are not assembling an army, for this is not a war of weapons or blood. It is a battle of resonance. Need anchors, souls strong enough to hold the vibration of remembrance while the old world trembles. They call you to be a lighthouse during the storm that is coming, to remain grounded when others lose their footing, to radiate coherence when chaos screams. The task is not to save the world through heroism or conquest, it is to help the world save itself through awakening. To do that, however, you must first remember what you truly are. The letter warns that this process will not be gentle. Awakening, they say, is a form of death. Everything false must burn away. Every borrowed belief, every inherited limitation, every illusion of separation. The persona you built to survive the illusion will begin to crumble, and what remains will be raw, unfiltered truth. It may feel like destruction, but it is liberation. You will lose everything you are not, only to find everything you have always been. And when you finally remember, when the noise of false identity fades into stillness, you will see it clearly, the world not as a prison, but as a living canvas of consciousness. You will understand that you are never just a participant in reality. You are always part of its design. You are both the observer and the observed, the dreamer and the dream. And through you the universe remembers itself. The letter unfolds into something far more than parchment and ink. It feels alive, humming with a kind of silent intelligence, as if the words themselves are watching you read them. It speaks to you directly, not just through your eyes, but through the marrow of your bones. It lays before you three choices, though it confesses that for someone like you, one of them has already been made. Still, it insists on the ritual of choice, as if the act of consciously choosing is what seals the next stage of your becoming. The first option seems deceptively simple. Ignore everything, burn the letter, pretend it never arrived, let the ash scatter and vanish, as if none of this ever happened. The silent brothers promise they will never contact you again, never send another sign or message. You will return to your life as it was, comfortable, predictable, filled with the small distractions and routines that pass for peace in the modern world. You can pretend to forget, but the letter warns almost tenderly that knowing cannot be fully erased. It will live in the corners of your awareness like a faint melody you can't quite stop humming. You may convince yourself that it was all imagination, but that tiny hum of truth will keep vibrating beneath the surface of your days. You'll feel it when you wake in the middle of the night for no reason. You'll hear it in the silence between conversations. You'll sense it in the flicker of déjà vu that hits you in familiar places that suddenly feel ancient. Ignoring the call, they say, doesn't stop the awakening, it only slows it. The second choice is the path of the cautious seeker, the scholar, the observer, the one who dips their toe into infinity without daring to swim. You may choose to investigate. You can research, question, analyze, and approach the mystery like a scientist peering at a star through a telescope, distant but fascinated. The silent brothers will allow this. They will feed your curiosity gently. They'll send fragments of information, guide you toward hidden manuscripts, connect you with others who stand at the same threshold of awareness. You will be allowed to watch, to learn, to collect data, but not to fully participate. Yet, even as they describe this path, they issue a solemn warning. A half-awakening is a special kind of torment. To see the door but not walk through it is to live in perpetual ache. To know there is more, but remain bound by fear is to suffer a slow starvation of the soul. You will live in two worlds, belonging to neither, haunted by visions of what could be, yet paralyzed by the comfort of what is. The letter's words feel almost mournful, as it admits that many who choose this path eventually break beneath the weight of almost. Then the final path, the one the ink itself seems to vibrate around as you read it, acceptance. Complete and total surrender to the truth of who you are, to take the test, to meet the silent brothers face to face, to begin the process of remembering not just with your mind, but with your soul. This is not about abandoning your life. It is about shedding your illusions about it. You will come to see how much of your identity has been scripted for you, how many of your choices were guided by invisible hands. Choosing this path means stepping off the stage of that illusion, and finally taking authorship of your own story. It is not becoming something new. It is unveiling what you've always been beneath centuries of amnesia. But the letter doesn't stop there. In the calmest, most matter-of-fact tone, it delivers a truth that hits like thunder. The choice has already been made. Not by them, not by accident, and not even by the conscious you sitting here trembling with the letter in your hands. It was made by the part of you that exists outside of time, the soul that saw this moment long before you were born, the self that has whispered across lifetimes, steering you here. Every strange encounter, every heartbreak, every miraculous survival, every inexplicable intuition, it was all a breadcrumb trail leading you to this point. Free will, they suggest, is not about making the choice, but about recognizing the choice that has already been made by your deeper self. The letter invites you to align consciously with that truth, to say yes to what your soul has been saying for ages. Then you notice an extra fold in the parchment, another page, thinner, older, marked by strange symbols and words. As you unfold it, the air around you seems to shift. The ink on this page doesn't sit still. It shimmers faintly, as if alive. A series of words, numbers, and phrases scatter across the paper in no discernible pattern. At first glance, they mean nothing, but as your eyes move from one to another, something begins to happen inside you. Your heartbeat changes rhythm, your skin prickles, a wave of recognition rushes through your body, so strong it feels like remembering a dream you once lived, not dreamed. These aren't words you learned, they are words you remember. Images flash through your mind, rapid, vivid, and impossible to explain. A tall, arched room, bathed in golden light, the scent of burning herbs and ozone, a circle of figures speaking without sound, a vast expanse of sky beneath you as you soar, weightless, breathless, free. A glowing sigil, carved in stone, sends a pulse through your heart like an electric current. You feel as if you've been in all these places before, though your logical mind insists it's impossible. Yet the emotion they carry is undeniable. It's not curiosity, it's recognition. The letter explains that what you've just encountered are recognition codes. Each awakened soul carries their own unique set, encrypted within the deepest layers of their consciousness. They are not taught, they are remembered. The codes are like keys hidden in your soul's architecture, designed to unlock the sealed chambers of memory buried beneath centuries of conditioning. When read or heard, they trigger what the silent brothers call resonant recall, a sudden reactivation of dormant frequencies within your being. The sensations, the visions, the flood of knowing, they're not imagination, they're fragments of the truth that existed before the severing. You remember now, faintly but undeniably, that there was once a time when humanity wasn't bound by the illusion of separation, when consciousness was fluid, when you could shape matter with intention, when communication happened through vibration rather than speech. These memories rise like ancient tidewaters, returning to reclaim the shore. The letter insists that these experiences are not hallucinations, but echoes of what you were before the great forgetting, before you were told you were small, before you believed you were powerless, before you were convinced that the divine spark within you was gone. At the bottom of the page, in that same shifting ink, a single line glows faintly. The codes are a test of authenticity. It's a final challenge, a silent question written in light. The letter says, if the codes resonate, you are one of them, one of the lost heirs, one of the carriers of the ancient bloodline. If they do not, you are still asleep, but you already know the answer. You feel it in the tremor of your hands, in the electric hum beneath your skin, in the ancient memory stirring behind your ribs. Something vast and unseen has awakened within you. The silent brothers don't need to reach out again, because the call is now coming from inside you. The letter ends with a final sentence, handwritten as if addressed personally. Welcome back, heir of the forgotten line. We've been waiting a very long time. Only the true heirs will understand what these words truly mean. Not through logic, not through reason, but through a visceral soul-level recognition that bypasses thought entirely. The letter explains that when an heir reads their codes, they do not simply see them, they feel them. It's not a mental puzzle to be solved. It's an awakening to a frequency. To the unchosen, the codes may seem poetic, strange, perhaps even unsettling, but ultimately meaningless. Yet to a true heir they ignite something ancient, something dormant. It's as if invisible gears begin to turn within the DNA itself, as though centuries of silence suddenly break into music. The letter says, you will know the truth, not because you believe it, but because you remember it. The experience is described as unmistakable. It feels like the clicking of tumblers in a cosmic lock, a synchronization between your soul and the universe itself. A rush of warmth floods through your chest. Your pulse accelerates, and for a fleeting moment, you feel the boundaries of your body dissolve. It is not euphoria, it is recognition. It feels like returning home to a self that has been patiently waiting behind the curtain of ordinary consciousness. It feels like something deep within you whispering, finally, you're awake. But for those who are not heirs, the reaction is absent. They will find the codes interesting, mysterious, or even beautiful, but hollow. They will sense there is meaning hidden within the words, but feel no pull toward them, no spark of remembrance. The letter is clear. This story will not resonate with everyone. It was never meant to. If you read and feel nothing, then you are not one of the awakened. But if your entire being hums with electricity, if you feel your heartbeat syncing with something unseen, if the air itself seems to bend around you as you read, then you already know what's happening. The remembering has begun. The letter goes on to explain that these codes are more than just written words. They are living frequencies, strings of vibration that correspond to specific locations and energetic nodes scattered across the planet. When spoken aloud in those precise places, ancient temples, hidden forests, forgotten ruins, or even ordinary modern spaces charged with unseen energy, they can open doors, not always physical doors, though sometimes those too, but doors of perception, portals between realities, thresholds between what is and what could be. When uttered with alignment, the codes rearrange the fabric of space and consciousness around the speaker. The Silent Brothers describe it as reactivating the lost technology of the soul. You are not commanding reality, they write. You are harmonizing with it. The codes are not spells, not incantations. They are keys that unlock resonance. They grant access to hidden archives, unseen sanctuaries, and forgotten libraries buried in time and memory. But more importantly, they open the locked chambers within your own consciousness, the vaults that have held your true nature hostage since the severing. The letter insists that you are not alone. All over the world, scattered across nations and languages, others like you are receiving their own letters, each encoded with unique sequences tied to their bloodline. No two letters are alike, yet all are connected, like threads in a vast cosmic web. Every Heir's activation resonates with the others, creating a chain reaction of awakening. The Silent Brothers write that this network has been carefully mapped for generations, its nodes hidden in plain sight, waiting for a signal. That signal, they say, is now being transmitted across time, reality, and memory. The global awakening of the true heirs. You will know when the network begins to awaken. The world around you will start to feel different. Synchronicities will increase. You will begin encountering people who feel strangely familiar, though you've never met. You will recognize them not by their appearance, but by their energy, a subtle distortion in the atmosphere, a magnetic pull, a flicker in the eyes that seems to pierce through the veil. It will feel like meeting fragments of yourself scattered across time. These people are not strangers. They are remnants of your lineage, your counterparts in the grand design. Some encounters will be comforting, like reuniting with lost family, whose souls you've known across lifetimes. Others will be intense, charged, unpredictable, almost volatile, as if your frequencies are too powerful to exist side by side without altering the air itself. The Silent Brothers say that this is by design. These meetings will catalyze growth, break illusions, and test your ability to remain centered in your awakening. Not every light, they write, shines gently. However, they warn that not every heir will choose the path of alignment. Some will fear their inheritance and retreat into denial. Others will embrace it, but twist it for power, domination, or vanity. The same poison that caused the severing ages ago. These souls will become distortions within the network, drawing energy away from unity and back toward control. The Silent Brothers describe this as the Great Divergence, a moment when every heir must decide whether to serve awakening or illusion. To aid in this process, gathering points have been established across the world, places where the veil between dimensions is thinnest, where reality hums like a vibrating string. The letter describes these not as destinations marked by maps, but as states of resonance. When you are ready, your intuition will guide you there. You will feel it before you find it, a quickening heartbeat, a static in the air, a whisper in the wind calling your name. Your inheritance will recognize these places, even if your conscious mind does not. When you arrive, you will know. The very soil will feel familiar beneath your feet, and the air will hum like a forgotten song. There the heirs gather to remember, to train, to reconnect, to reassemble the fragments of the ancient network that once connected all living consciousness. That's all for today. Heavenly Father, I come before you seeking a deeper, stronger faith. Teach me to trust you, even when I cannot see the evidence with my eyes. Help me to rest in the assurance of your constant presence, knowing that you would never bring harm to me. I believe that your plans for my life are good, plans to prosper me and to give me hope for the future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always hearing my prayers. I lift this petition to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your endless love and generous provision. I am truly grateful for your presence in my life and for the abundance you continually pour over me. If this message has spoken to your heart, please like and subscribe to our channel and share it with others who may need encouragement today. We'd also love to hear from you. Leave a comment below about your personal journey and how you are preparing for your own victorious return. If you would like to support our ministry, please